Yo guys, how is it going today? In today's video, I'm going to be going over the top 4 stocks that are still cheap in June 2020. And I know that this isn't a typical video that I make, but I wanted to go over it just because this is something that I want to start rolling into in this channel, making some more financial videos, more videos over the stock market, and potentially making you some money. So with that being said, I am making these are 4 or 5 stocks that are still cheap this month. And I think that if you pick these up, me personally, I think that you'll be able to make some good money on them. And I'm going to give you the reasons why. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to leave a like down below as well as subscribe to see more future videos. It really helps me out a lot. And with that being said, I'm going to roll right into it. And as you can tell, the first stock is going to be ExxonMobil, which if you know what ExxonMobil is, which I'm sure you have just because, it's the fact that it's one of the biggest oil titans in the industry. Essentially, they run the Exxon gas stations and they produce oil, all that sort of thing. And I'm going to go over why I think that this is a good position that you can still take. It's because right now the price of it is $46.74 as you're seeing on the screen. And if you go to the 3 months, it's grown up quite a bit. I was able to pick it up when it was down a little bit more. But with that being said, I don't think that it's a missed opportunity because if you look, it typically trades between the price points of between like $65 and I would say $75 just to play it safe. Between $65 and $75. And with being priced at $46.76 right now, I don't think that it's a bad buy. It's a dividend titan. The dividends have grown quite a bit over the years. And the dividend yield right now, the cost on yield is actually really good because of how down the stock is. That being said, I do think oil prices are going to go up. Even with electric cars coming in, I think that there's still going to be the fact that oil is so normalized in the U.S. and it's going to take a massive change for oil to go away. So I think that this is a pretty good pickup. Me personally, I put a pretty good amount of equity into it, and I don't think it's a bad purchase at the moment. Are there better purchases? I'm sure there are, but I think that this is a very safe purchase that you can expect to get a pretty good return on, and that's why I bought into it myself. Pretty soon I'm going to be making a Robinhood portfolio just for this channel, so I might have to put some of this in there just to back up what I'm saying, but I really do stand on by ExxonMobil, and it hasn't done me wrong so far. With that being said, I'm going to roll into the next stock, and before I do roll into the next stock, I'm going to give a little disclaimer real quick. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take me saying that I would buy these individual stocks as financial advice. This is all speculation, and this is all done on my personal research and what I personally think about the markets. Don't sue me. Essentially, is what I'm saying. With that being said, the next stock is going to be Marriott International. And if you've been to literally any major town or city, I'm sure you've seen this name. It's because it's a hotel line. They have quite a bit of hotels. They have different little branches. A couple of them, right off the top of my head, I believe is like Residence Inn or Countryside Inn, as well as just the Marriott hospitals themselves. Correct me on those names if I'm wrong down below. But anyways, here's why I think the Marriott International stock is a pretty good buy. It's because right now the travel industry is down just because of COVID. And in the past 3 months alone, it's recovered a pretty good amount, like 60%. But with that being said, I don't think that means it's a total. I don't think that means it's made its run yet. I think that people are going to start traveling again because that's a normalized tendency for a lot of people in the world. I mean, especially in the U.S. at least, because that's where I'm from and that's where I know there's a lot of people that do a lot of traveling. And hotels are a big thing. So if you look at this stock before COVID, I mean, it was getting up to 150, 145 in that range. But realistically, even if it goes to between 120 to 140, you're realistically going to see like a pretty solid return if you buy in at like $90. I want to say it's like 30 or 40%. And honestly, that to me is a pretty safe bet because I don't think all these hotels are going to go bankrupt. I don't think they're all going to disappear at once. And I think that it's a pretty good buy. I mean, if you look at the 5-year, it's very clearly done like really well. So I think that this is just a decent time to buy in. Now, with that being said, the dividend yield isn't that high with it being, 2.1%. But I don't think that necessarily is my main focus on the stock. I think my main focus on the stock would be to buy it and, maybe hold it until maybe Christmas or even spring break next year. I could very likely see a large spike in traveling early next year just because people like to go on vacations and they've had money to save up and stuff like that. And after COVID passed, everyone's going to want to go travel again. So I think Marriott is going to be a pretty good buy, to be honest. I mean, you'll be able to lock in a 40% profit margin within the next year is my estimate. I mean, don't take me up on that, but like I believe that you should be able to lock in a 40% margin in the next year, and 40% in 1 year is not too shabby. That rolling into the next one, this is gonna get a couple people, asking me questions, getting a couple people on my back, but it's actually going to be Delta Airlines, which a lot of people might have not saw. A lot of people might have saw this coming. You might not have seen me. You might think that airlines just, it's just safest to get out of them with the whole Warren Buffett thing, saying he'd not invest in them and the business model being bad. But hear me out on this. I think that Delta has potential to go up because if you look right here, we've already seen like the bottom, so we can only go up. And it's kind of like Marriott, like I was saying, like people are going to start traveling more. And I think the airline industry is honestly going to go back up to what it was normally at just because that's a part of the culture in the world. I mean, people travel, people go on vacations, business trips. I think there's just quite a bit done with traveling. And other, like airlines, it's kind of like there's no real competitor that's going to come in and take out the airline industry. It's going to have to be around for a little bit. It's way oversold just because people did like to lock in profits whenever they bought for cheap and they sold it. So, I just think that it's a solid buy. I mean, I'm just having pretty good feelings about Delta, and honestly, that's the truth. While we're talking about airlines, I'm actually going to bring up the ETF Jets, which has gone up a pretty tremendous amount. I mean, not tremendous, but it's went up like 30% already. But with that being said, I think this is really the safest bet when it comes to investing in airlines, just because it is an ETF and it has multiple holdings between a bunch of different airlines. And I think that if you want to invest in the airline industry because you think that it's going to go up, this is definitely the way to go. I picked it up at, believe, like $14 a share, which really wasn't too shabby. I'm going to hold on to it for a little bit more. I might sell some off, but I'm not really holding on to it for the dividend or anything. I'm really just holding on to it for the short-term gain. If you look at the dividend, it's actually not that good. It's 2%, 2.1%. So it's not the best, but then again, like I said, I think the airline industry is going to go up. And, I don't think that this is a bad idea to pick up just because it's one of the tickers or one of the stocks that's actually still low. And, I have some and I'm going to hold on to it for a little bit. Rolling into the last one, it's actually going to be MGM Resorts, which if you've seen any pictures of Vegas, like the big MGM sign, but essentially MGM Resorts owns casinos, hotels, like they do dining, they do, all this different stuff. I'm kind of just reading like right down here, but it's essentially big resorts that have like shops in them and like family areas as well as like areas culture to adults and gambling and stuff like that. And honestly, that's just part of the tourist industry. And like I was talking about earlier with the traveling, as people start going on vacations again, people have a pretty decent amount of money saved up. I think that people are going to go, gamble, have fun, go on these fun vacations and put some money into them. If you look at the 3 months, they have gone up quite a bit in the past 3 months. I wish I would have put in whenever they were down at like $9, $10 a share, but I didn't. But like I said about the airline industry, I do think that there is still potential for them to go back up, especially with them trading at $19 right now. Typically, before COVID, they were trading anywhere between 28 and 33. So if you buy it for 20 and you sell it for, let's just round down and say 30, which is its typical traffic before COVID, I mean, that's still 30-35% profit margin, and I could expect to see that by the end of next year. I'm not going to say the earliest, like early time next year like I did with the airline industry or with the hotel industry, but by the end of next year, I'm pretty sure you should be able to see this stock be back up at like 27 to 30, 31. Somewhere in that range. It's just my personal opinion. Another thing going like good with this is just like the fact that a lot of people have a lot of money right now, and so I think it's going to be a big cash pump for traveling, to be honest. So that being said, that is all 5 of mine. I'm not going to sugarcoat anymore and talk about anything else. If you enjoyed this video, let me know what you liked about it. Maybe if you disagree with me on some of these stocks, what have you been watching that's been doing really good? Let's have a discussion down in the comments below. I'd love to hear I'd love to hear what you're investing in or what you got burnt on. I'd love to talk to you about that. And let me know down below, like, just what you want to see in the future. I do want to make a Robinhood portfolio for my YouTube channel and do, like, updated, videos and have y'all have you kind of vote on what I invest into and, maybe kind of make, like, an interactive experience. It's still all in the works, but with that being said, I really hope you enjoyed the video and you can expect to see more videos like this to come.